The Fantastic Four are Marvel's first family, and are among the original Marvel superheroes, yet for as many movies as they have made about them, they haven't seemed to have gotten them quite right. Or so it seems. With the release of the latest Fantastic Four film, I've decided to go back and see not only how the other films hold up, but to also compare them to the quality of the new one through some very subjective reviews and a not serious tier list. So without further ado, let's see how fantastic these movies really are. First up is 1994's The Fantastic Four. Now, if you look up Fantastic Four movies online, you might not see this one in an official listing. The reason being is that this film was never theatrically released. In fact, the only reason this movie was made was to keep the film rights of the Fantastic Four. So as you'd probably assume, it was cobbled together with very little time and money behind it, and it shows. There's even a whole documentary titled Doom that goes over the backstory for this film and the troubled development and all that crazy stuff. But as for the actual story of this film, it follows the origin of the Fantastic Four. We got scientists Reed Richards and Susan Storm, Sue's brother Johnny Storm, and Reed's best friend Ben Grimm as they all head up into space on some kind of space mission, but they're struck by cosmic rays, whatever cosmic rays are, it's undefined, and they crash back down on Earth to discover that they have gained fantastical superpowers. Oh, and also, Reed's former roommate Victor Von Doom has become the hilariously over-the-top villain Dr. Doom, who is comic accurate to such a silly yet entertaining degree. Anyway, they punch for a bit with some pretty poor special effects. Dr. Doom is defeated and the day is saved. Look, it's not at all a good movie, but you can tell that they all tried. They were all very passionate about it. Even the actors were going around doing press for the film without getting paid for it or anything, and then they got a cease and desist. It's a whole story. Even though this movie isn't good, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's bad. If anything, it's meh, but that's mostly because it has my respect. They were set up for failure, but it's still not good, so I'm gonna put it in D tier or whatever. 10 years later, we got a Fantastic Four reboot. This is gonna happen several times, by the way. Anywho, this one gets a very creative title, just like the last one, Fantastic Four. The plot is equally as creative. It's just the origin story again. Only this time, Dr. Doom is involved as an evil businessman who gets vague electricity powers and metal skin. He sucks in this movie, but at least on the technical level, the film is a massive improvement over the last one. I'll also say the casting is good, the chemistry between the cast is great. The music and the tone of the movie felt good too. It's not too serious, but it's not too campy either. That's where my positives end though. The big problem with this movie is that between them getting their powers to the final battle against Dr. Doom, which is just them kind of punching each other at some random intersection in Manhattan, it's kind of boring. There are hardly any action scenes to showcase their powers. The only character with actual internal conflict is the Thing. And as I said, Dr. Doom is made into just a dull, evil businessman. There aren't any moments that stand out in this, but it's not like it's terrible or anything. If the characters were given more to do, the powers were used in more interesting ways, and the bad guy wasn't held back from the source material's level of villainy and just scale, I think we would have had a really good film, because there are things to enjoy here. I like the cast. It's not a bad time. But that's why I just think it's okay. It's just okay, and it's gonna go in C tier. Even though the last film was critically panned and the audiences didn't seem to like it either, it apparently did well enough to warrant a sequel, and that's how we got Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. He doesn't really rise in this. It's not like an origin story or anything, so I don't know what the title is all about. But as the title does state, the Silver Surfer, herald of the World Eater Galactus, arrives on Earth on the wedding day of Reed and Sue to say, hey, this planet is gonna get eaten. And after some brief conversations, they convince him to turn against Galactus, since he was made into the Surfer against his will. Norrin Rad is his name. And when the time comes to defeat Galactus, they're all there, they're all getting ready to fight. Galactus is just a big giant cloud in this. Silver Surfer just kind of kills him because he has the power to do it. And they all live happily ever after. Okay, so I'm being hyperbolic. There are more things that happen in this movie, but it just still feels boring. There is more action, yet the action scenes outside of the Silver Surfer still aren't as creative as I know they can be with the powers that they have, as I've seen them be in video games and animation and even the comic books. Dr. Doom is back, and he still sucks. And Galactus, in my opinion, this is a big hot take for Marvel fans, Galactus has always sucked. He's just some big cosmic being who has to eat planets to live, and will obviously never destroy Earth. so the stakes of the film become so high that they wrap back around into being meaningless, all the while the character himself just has nothing going for him. I know the focus is more on the Silver Surfer, but the plot with the Silver Surfer goes exactly how you think it would anyway. That being said, I think this film has all the strengths of the first one. The tone works, the cast is great, the chemistry is there. It's got the same weaknesses as the last movie too. And for that reason, I'll say it's okay. It's pretty much like, in terms of quality, exactly the same as the last one. So I'm also going to throw it in C tier. Well, there's no avoiding this one. I mean, I could just not talk about it if I wanted to, but I've got to do my due diligence. 10 years after the 2005 film, we get another reboot, also called Fantastic Four, but this time stylized as Fant-Four-Stick, which is incredibly stupid and as annoying as the film itself. This movie is not just annoying, it is genuinely one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's yet another origin story for the Fantastic Four, but instead of taking 20 minutes or so to get to their powers, it takes half of the movie. Meanwhile, interweaving incredibly bleak, melodramatic backstory. For instance, Ben Grimm gets his iconic catchphrase, "It's clobbering time," from something his abusive older brother used to say when he beat him. Like, what? So tonally dissonant from the superheroic stuff they try to do in this movie, let alone being tonally dissonant from the comics. I know this is its own thing, right? But even in the film itself, it tries to do superhero stuff, and it's just so all over the place. And by shoving things into this movie, I mean the second half of this film is just jam-packed with the most obvious reshoots ever. They couldn't even give Kate Mara a wig that matches her hair color. They didn't even try. But yeah, the Fantastic Four, who are not cosmic space adventurers in this, they are military agents, in very dark, dull facilities that are that's where most of the movie takes place, by the way, in these very gray, boring-looking facilities, when it's not in the negative zone, which is just a canyon with a dark purple sky. The Fantastic Four, they gotta use their powers together for the 5-minute final battle. They do even less interesting stuff with their powers in this than they did in the other films. They have to stop computer hacker turned trash bag looking bad guy Dr. Doom, who is the villain yet again, who is somehow even worse than he was as an evil businessman. They gotta stop him from blowing up the planet or whatever it is he does. None of the actors look like they want to be here. None of the characters are likable. The movie is so flat, it makes the others look like masterpieces. It is a bad movie, and it is going in F tier. Watching a movie is different than listening to someone talk about it, but trust me, this movie is so bad. Please, I don't want to talk about it ever again. Okay, terrible movie out of the way. 10 years have gone by, brings us to the present day, and yet we've got another Fantastic Four reboot. Guys, this is like the fourth one of these. Please just get it right. Thankfully, at the very least, it isn't an origin story again. Nope. The MCU's first outing with the Fantastic Four, titled First Steps, features the team as a seasoned group of superhero cosmic adventurers in their own reality, separate of everyone else, in which they are the sole protectors of a retro-futuristic Earth. This leads to a very aesthetically pleasing film with amazing costuming, design for the technology, the world. It's perfect for the Fantastic Four. But unfortunately, we do miss out on them interacting with other Marvel characters, and there are honestly way too many scenes of the public citizens feeling like cardboard cutouts whose sole purpose is to cheer on the Fantastic Four. But anyway, the Fantastic Four, they've handled everything so far, but now they've got to face their biggest threat yet, because Galactus is here! Yeah, it's exactly the same as the other movie. For whatever reason, these films only seem to use Galactus or Dr. Doom. But at least they made him compelling this time, right? Nope, he just wants to eat worlds because he has to. His actions also leave zero impact on the world and story. If Galactus never came to Earth and did all the stuff that he does in this film, the ending of the movie would not have changed at all. I don't know about you guys, but I would like my central conflict to leave a lasting impact on the story and the world, Look, Galactus is not the only, important big thing that happens in this movie. As Reed and Sue, they have a child in this film. Yes, their baby, Franklin, who is at the center of the story as he is a cosmic being of untold power. But oddly enough, he doesn't actually change our characters in any meaningful way. We don't even get to see his first steps. But look, none of the characters grow or evolve. Reed and Sue do not change when they become parents. They don't change as people when they become parents. Johnny and Ben, the family dynamic with Johnny and Ben doesn't change either. So look, I really like the cast, and I think their chemistry is good. The movie has the best visual effects and action of any Fantastic Four movie, even though Reed Richards and Sue Storm don't really get to use their powers in really any interesting ways. The aesthetic choices are absolutely perfect for this film, but it tells a story that feels utterly inconsequential. At the very least, they could have explored themes of parenthood with Franklin or existentialism and the right to exist with Galactus, but they don't really. And it's even more odd because it felt like so much of this film was cut out. There's a lot from the trailers that was just removed from this movie. There's a lot of moments in this where it feels kind of disjointed, like some characters will show up and then have no role to play in the rest of the film. So to recap all of what I just said, I don't hate the film, but I wouldn't really say it was particularly good either. There are a lot of really good aspects to it. I like the cast. I like the chemistry between the cast. I love the aesthetic of the movie. But I was just left with this feeling of like, that's it? It just felt like it was missing something, and in my opinion, it felt like the story had zero consequences. And the film itself just had nothing to say. It's like they just wanted to make a Fantastic Four story, but they didn't do anything with the story. I will say it's okay. I mean, it's the best Fantastic Four movie, but it's not fantastic, you know? It was really missing any sort of, like, gravity to what was happening. The characters needed to grow. Galactus needed to leave an impact on the world and the story. So I think I'll put this one in B tier. It's not a bad time, but I'm still waiting on a truly great Fantastic Four movie. Now that I've rewatched all the Fantastic Four movies and seen the newest one, it's time to answer this question. Has there ever been a truly good Fantastic Four movie? Sadly, in my opinion, not quite. We got really close with the most recent one. Had the conflict felt more impactful and the characters evolved over the course of the film, which are the basics of any good story, it would have felt far better. To me, the best Fantastic Four stories balance grounded family dramedy with the wildest cosmic adventures you can imagine. And I'm really glad that this film didn't hold back from the stuff you see in the comic books. So I'm hoping the next film gives these characters more substantial growth, as well as more fun doing stuff out in space and whatever they do, you know? Even though I didn't think any of the Fantastic Four movies were great, maybe you did. Whatever your thoughts on these movies are, let me know in the comments below. Leave a like if you found the video enjoyable. Share it with some friends who've got their own thoughts on these Fantastic Four movies. Subscribe for more and different content, and I'll see you all next time.